Hello and welcome to Just Ride Bikes. Now, as the year draws to a close and 2023 looms into view, I reckon it's a good time to look forward to some of the best, the newest and the most exciting gravel and adventure bikes vying for your attention in the future. So here we'll have everything from aero race focused bikes to more adventure bike packing focused options and a choice of frame materials as well. Now I won't talk about prices because different currencies, sterling, dollars and euros, and prices will fluctuate during the time of the video being live, but I'll put links to some of the best bikes down below. And in most cases I have reviewed the bikes I'll be talking about in the video. I'll put links to those reviews down below as well. Now before we dive in, I'm proud to say this video is sponsored by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that lets you easily build your online presence. It's perfect if you need to create an online store for your bike shop, or you just want to start blogging with loads of cool templates to choose from as well. I'm using it right now to launch a Just Ride Bikes website for behind the scenes content, and it really couldn't be easier. The interface is intuitive and simple, and you get a whole bunch of powerful marketing tools to really take it to the next level. So if you like the sound of that, you can get a free trial right now and 10% off your first purchase. Use my special code on screen now and link down below in the description. Okay, let's dive into some of the best gravel bikes in 2023. First up, we have the Canyon Grizl, which is an easy bike to recommend and definitely a lot easier than that double handlebar on a very distinctive and very radical Grizl gravel bike from the same company. So the Grizl ticks all the boxes you expect in a modern day gravel bike. Available in a choice of frame materials, so good wide range of prices with an aluminium option propping up the range, then a carbon fibre as you move up the price band, and a choice of specifications from SRAM and Shimano and 1x and 2x options as well. You get 45mm tyres as stock, loads of mounts and accessory points for bottles, bags and cages as well. And the geometry ensures it works well on the road and off-road as well. Real nice balance, good steering, good comfort as well. Just a good do-it-all from bike packing to racing as well, and also commuting and just hacking around the woods at the weekend. And because it's Canyon, you buy direct, the prices and value for money are very good. And they even do a version with a RockShot Rudy suspension fork as well. And I think it's a fantastic option if you want to improve your capability and comfort when riding off-road. And you see my review of that bike linked down below. Like the Canyon Grizl, the Giant Revolt is another easy to recommend gravel and adventure bike. Whether you're going racing, going bike packing, or just want to get off-road in the woods and get away from busy, congested roads, which is why gravel bikes have become so popular over the last few years. The Revolt comes in a wide range of prices, but all share the same fundamental frame design which works well everywhere. So it's a lightweight, very fast and very comfortable option, with the D-shaped seat post and handlebar offering even more comfort over regular options, especially if you go for the carbon handlebar higher up the range. The new Revolt gets adjustable geometry with flip chips in the rear dropouts that let you shorten or lengthen the wheelbase, giving you more or less tire clearance. In reality, as I found, it makes a small difference in terms of how the bike rides, but it's a nice feature if you want to customize how the bike rides, make it more laid back or make it a bit more responsive and agile. The geometry generally is on the more responsive side, shall we say, so a faster steering, more lively bike, not quite as laid back as some other options which are slacker, longer and lower, but a good bike that works whether you're bashing along smooth, fast gravel or twisting trails in the woodlands that I like to ride on a regular basis. As well as the carbon options, there are aluminium frames as well, with prices here in the UK starting from just over £1,000, making a really accessible option whether you're going commuting, touring, bike packing or racing. My only recommendation is to make sure you change the tyres that come on the bike unless you're riding on the road or very dry hard-packed gravel. The slick tyres they generally spec are pretty useless when you're riding in the mud or very loose gravel. So definitely budget for some better tyres and tyres more suitable to the terrain and conditions you're riding in. And you see my long-term review of the Revolt by checking the link right above. The Topstone from Cannondale is a really interesting option, and there's a wide range of models to choose from. Aluminium at the cheaper end, carbon fibre in the middle and top end, and the carbon models have the very distinctive feature of a kingpin sort of rear suspension, a pivot on a seat tube that allows the rear stay to flex more than if they weren't there. And the top end model also has an even more distinctive lefty Oliver suspension fork, providing up to 30mm of front suspension travel. So the comfort and off-road capability are your cup of tea, then the Topstone is definitely a bike to consider. But if you want a nice simple setup, then the lower end aluminium models have a very regular plain frame, shall we say, with none of those suspension features you get higher up the range. The geometry definitely leans closer to a road bike like the Synapse endurance bike, so it works really well on the road and on a very smooth gravel as well. Probably not the most adventurous bike for very technical, challenging terrain like some other bikes in this video, but still very capable nonetheless. Thankfully, the new Topstone is an easier bike to recommend and live with as well, because gone is a press-fit bottom bracket and replaced by a threaded bottom bracket from the company that invented the press-fit bottom bracket as well, no less. We now have a regular rear wheel spacing, so none of the asymmetric offset nonsense from the previous bike. And we have an external seat clamp as well, and you fit a regular round seat post. Some very sensible details from a brand you don't normally expect sensible details from. But on the flip side, the Smart Sense system of integrated lights, radar and battery, first debuted on the Synapse endurance bike, does find its way onto the brand new Topstone, but thankfully it's more optional on this bike, and some of the higher bikes don't have it at all. So some bikes do have it, some don't. So worth looking at the range to see where the price points work in your favour or not. And while the Smart Sense will have its detractors and definitely does have its naysayers, it is a system that provides always on lighting, which for riding in the winter, on the road, commuting, touring, is definitely a USP over other bikes. But something you really have to buy into over other bikes where adding lights and radar are of course optional. And if you want to see what the new Topstone is like when you ride it across an entire country, then you can see my video and review linked up above and down below in the description. There are a few brands that claim to be right there at the beginning, the birth of gravel. And here in the UK, Mason with the Bokeh was definitely one of the earliest gravel bikes on the scene, and definitely one of the earliest I ever reviewed when I was working at Road CC. So I rode the original Mason Bokeh way back in 2016, and it was then and still is a really good gravel and adventure bike. Good for bikepacking adventures, good for racing and everything else in between. A British design, full of detail, and Italian manufacturing, the perfect partnership. So you get a gorgeous aluminium frame that rides smoother than you might expect given the material's unfair reputation. And it's a bike that really elevates aluminium to the premium. That's reflected in the price. It's definitely an expensive option, but that's because most bike brands really save aluminium for their cheaper entry-level models and don't go any higher than a certain price point where carbon fibre definitely takes over. But like a few other brands, Mason have dared to push aluminium up into that carbon price bracket, and that's no bad thing. The attention to detail on the frame is fantastic. Loads of mounting points, generous tyre clearance, a threaded bottom bracket, and very well thought out cable routing. And it's all draped in a lovely paint finish, a nice range of colours to choose from, and very lovely decals as well. Definitely a bike that stands out from the crowd. Right, if you want to go racing on gravel, you need speed, you need stiffness, you need lightweight, and you need aerodynamics. And the 3T Exploro was the first and still one of the few aero gravel bikes. And the latest version is the Race Max Ultra, which I reviewed back in the summer. Link to that review down below. And for all the naysayers that say aero doesn't matter on gravel, look at the average speed of the Unbound in 2022, in excess of 20 miles per hour. And the Exploro in its various configurations, because it has changed quite a bit over the years with the Race Max and now the Race Max Ultra, it's a bike that delivers amazing speed. Those big fat aero profiles that help to harness the aero benefits despite the big fat tyres on the bike delivers amazing speed. Up there with the Cervelo Exploro and the Villiers Rave SLR for sure. But on the flip side, the price you pay for that speed, is the ride comfort isn't the best in this category at all. Those big aero tube profiles compromise the ride quality on rough, challenging terrain quite a bit compared to other bikes like the Topstone, the Grizl and the Revolt, which all offer a smoother ride. Thankfully, the latest version, the Ultra, ups the tyre clearance and offers a smoother ride because you can fit a mountain bike tyre on a 27.5 wheel, and while it looks monstrous, it does deliver a smooth ride. Bigger tyre volume does equal more suspension and it works well on the Ultra, yet you get all the speed and the aero benefits of that bike as well. The cable routing into the top tube is still a bugbear and will still put me off buying the bike, I think, but you might feel differently. But now at least you can fit a regular round seat post, you can fit a dropper seat post or a nice bendy VCLS carbon seat post, for example, to get a bit more comfort, or even a suspension seat post if you want a smooth ride and maintain the speed and aero benefits of the 3T Exploro platform. It really is a bike that in this video feels most like an aero race bike with big fat gravel tyres on, that excels on very smooth, well maintained gravel, but it isn't, in my experience, the most at home in woodland trails, riding tame mountain bike tracks where other bikes do definitely perform better. The brand new Scott Addict Gravel is big on integration and aero and takes a lot of inspiration from the Addict RC race bike. And you might have seen on my social media channels that I'm currently testing an Addict Gravel. There's a review coming very soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel by hitting the red button down below. So this is an extremely rapid bike, covers distance at great speed. Comfort is pretty good as well and definitely better than the 3T Exploro, and both bikes have a similar sensation of speed. The geometry is very good on road and off road, not quite the most capable or at home in very technical trails, but you stick to fast smooth gravel and it is all rosy. And while 1x is clearly very popular on gravel bikes, a real import from the mountain bike world, Scott is a big believer in 2x on a bike like this, and it does make sense for racing where we're still seeing 2x be a really popular option because of the closer ratio you get with 2x versus even the best 1x. The frame is as aero as you would expect given the company's focus on aerodynamics with its Addict RC race bike, similar styling with a fork, head tube, drop rear stays and so on, and we have the same internal cable routing. The top end model gets a one-piece carbon handlebar from Syncross, but the lower end model I'm testing has a separate two-piece bar and stem, but still with the cable routing going underneath the stem and into the headset. So at least here you can swap the stem for a longer or shorter one, perhaps even a suspension stem. I'm not sure that would fit or would work, I haven't tried it, but probably not something you want to do on this sort of bike, but does give that option if you want it and need it. Despite its big focus on aerodynamics, they haven't skimped on tyre clearance and versatility as well. So the bike comes with some very generous 45mm wide tyres and a Schwalbe bite, so a really good tyre for riding in soft conditions. Normally we see brands put a very slick, fast rolling tyre to flatter the bike when it's dry and sunny, but for riding my local trails in the UK, in the autumn, going into winter, these tyres are an excellent option and means there's one less thing to upgrade, less money to spend on new tyres straight out of the box. The bike also has a slew of extra mounts with bottles and other bits and bobs, and even has mudguard mounts as well. Now you might ask, why you want mudguard mounts on a gravel and adventure bike? And because many people use gravel bikes not just for gravel racing and gravel riding, but for riding on the road, whether as a winter training bike with some nice fat slick tyres and mudguards, but also commuting, touring and sporties as well, and really question why other bike brands don't when it can be done so easily. Now this is a personal favourite and you'll know it if you're a regular on Just Ride bikes. The Fairlight Secan is a beautiful British designed steel gravel and adventure bike, and one packed with amazing details. Dropouts that you can really get excited about, which you normally don't. Threaded bottom bracket, really sensible cable routing which is external, which I definitely like. Massive tyre clearance, probably the biggest tyre clearance of all the bikes in this video. You fit mountain bike wheels on 27.5 inch hoops, or big fat 45s or 50s on 700cc wheels. So plenty of options to fit the wheels and tyres you want. It's as good on gravel in wooden trails as it is on a road with slick tyres and mudguards fitted. This is a bike you need to use for winter riding with those slick tyres and mudguards and a few bags for getting in the miles, doing some touring, doing some all-axing, but then take all that junk off, fit some big knobbly mountain bike tyres and go and get rowdy in the woods. The really versatile option. Now with 3 mounts for adding extra cages and bottles. One really nice detail with Fairlight, and the same for the road bikes as well, is that each size comes with the option of 2 stack heights, so a regular and a tall, and that's something you don't get from many bike brands, and it basically doubles their size range, and it means you can customize the fit much more closely to your exact needs than many other brands, and it's as good almost as going down the bespoke route and getting a frame custom made to you. Of course, it won't be as light as the best carbon frame options, but weight isn't everything. And the looks, the durability, and just the reputation of a steel frame are definitely, for many people, big USPs over a lighter, stiffer, more aero carbon frame. And you can see this being a bike that will last you a lifetime for sure. Get resprayed a few times and look after it, and definitely look after you. If you want the most technologically advanced gravel and adventure bike available right now, then there is no better option than a brand new Specialized Diverge STR. Launched just back in the summer, you can see my first ride linked down below. It's a radical new bike from the company. And Specialized, remember, were right there at the beginning, back in 2014 with the original Diverge, and my goodness, it's a platform that has changed a lot. The last 2 generations brought us the Future Shock, the 20mm front suspension above the frame, below the stem, isolating the rider from all the bumps coming through the front of the bike when riding off-road. But now they found a way to quite cleverly put that Future Shock from the front into the back of the bike. And before we discuss the looks, it does deliver a smooth ride. In fact, if comfort is a priority if you're shopping for a gravel and adventure bike, sure to go for bigger tires you can, the new Diverge STR is, hand on heart, the smoothest riding, most comfortable gravel bike I've ever ridden. But, and it's quite a big but, it's a very distinctive, very eye-opening, eyebrow-raising design, and there's definitely a long-term durability concern around it. I mean, Specialized have done their homework, they've assured us it's a reliable bike, but definitely adding a lot of complexity to a bike when many people clearly, quite rightly, want a bike designed to be as simple to look after, won't present any problems in the future, whether a year, 5 years, or 10 years. So it's not a bike for everybody, but if you are a fan of the latest technology, you're an early adopter, and you have deep pockets because this bike is really expensive, then it's definitely an option to consider. Now, if the Diverge STR is way too much tech for you, then Specialized does at least have the Crux. Now, the Crux started life as a cyclocross race bike, and it still is that, but the changes to the last model, launched just 2 years ago, have made it a more widely appealing option than before. So the geometry has been refined, so it's a bit better when you're away from a cross circuit and good in the woods and fast gravel. And then we have massive tyre clearance, the same as the Diverge. So you can fit up to a 47mm wide tyre. So more generous than most cross bikes, which max out to 35 or 38 say. It's also insanely lightweight as well, and definitely one of the lightest options here, with the S-Works frame weighing a claimed 725 grams. So a seriously lightweight option is available if you have deep pockets to build up with all the top end carbon bling. On the downside though, it's not the most versatile option on this list. You can't fit mud guards, you can't fit extra bottles, cages and stuff. So for bike packing, for touring, for that all-round appeal of a gravel bike, it doesn't really tick that box. So definitely a stripped back, lightweight, off-road focused gravel and CX race bike for sure. I know that comfort is one thing that many people look for in a gravel and adventure bike. And big tyres are clearly one way to get as much comfort as you can from your new bike. But another way is adding features to the bike that can allow the frame to flex in a controlled way. And the Trek Checkpoint is one such bike. So we have the ice speed decoupler from the Domani endurance bike, which allows the seat post and saddle to flex back and forth more than a regular seat post. Despite the ice-speeder coupler, it's probably not as smooth as a brand new Diverge STR if comfort is your thing, and probably not as good as a suspension seat post like that Redshift I tested recently, but it looks better, it's probably lighter, and it's baked into the frame design as well, but there are plenty of other reasons to choose the Checkpoint as well. So you get a frame decked out with all the bike packing details you want, space for 45mm wide tyres, and loads of mounts including mudguard eyelets as well. So really a versatile do everything option. You can get down to your storage compartment for all your snacks and tools as well. And that's a feature I really like, and save putting a saddle pack on or trying to figure out where to carry tools and accessories, put them in a down tube, forget about them, they're always there when you need them. So you want a versatile, smooth riding and reasonable value for money option, the Checkpoint looks a good pick. And if you enjoyed this roundup of the best gravel and adventure bikes, and you'll see 5 reasons why you should buy a gravel bike in 2023, then check the video linked right here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button right here.